lot of news has been dropping about WWE 2K25, and while it has been limited to just like some press videos and their own releases, I think there's enough for me to form my own opinion on it. And in this video, I'm going to list my positives, negatives, and even some things I'm on the fence about with WWE 2K25. Up first, we're going to start with the negatives, and the reason I'm starting with the negatives is because I want to end the video listing all the positives. So naturally, we'll start out with the negatives first. First of all, and probably most importantly of any of these points, does the game work? WWE 2K24 was a buggy mess for its whole life cycle. The patches really didn't do much to improve the game. Little to no fixes for online, which was borderline unplayable, and it makes me concerned for new modes like the Island or things like the new MyGM that's 4-player online. Can the servers even support playing online? And even when we're not talking offline, we're talking things about universe mode glitches, save files being corrupted. Recently, I had everybody vote on the channel what universe mode they would like to see next. You guys chose 2008 WWE. I made the mode, came back to record the second half of that universe, and it was completely corrupted, so the video just never happened. And previous to that, we ran a TNA mode, which corrupted. And before that, we ran an Attitude Era mode, which also corrupted. And the footage of that I actually caught when it happened. So if you want to see that, you can go back to those videos and look at that. But yeah, this is my biggest sticking point. Just, does the game work? Are there little annoying bugs that over time add up and just make the game not fun to play? Another negative for me in the promotion of WWE 2K25, and it seems that the developers kind of agree, and that's that making the last gen versions of the game is holding the game back, which kind of makes sense that the devs think that, but it also doesn't make sense because they knowingly are going to release the last gen version on PC, which is where the game is developed. So saying you don't like making the last gen versions, but then putting the last gen version on PC doesn't make any sense. Nonetheless, the last gen versions are holding the game back. This year, it was said that the community creations will be split, and that brings me to my next negative, the community creation split. If you don't know, because the game is split into last gen and next gen version, 2K has now separated the community creations, so PS4, PC, and whatever the Xbox is called, honestly I have no idea what the naming of the Xbox is, will not be accessible by people on PS5 and the new Xbox. So that kind of separates the CAW community. If you're really like invested in making them, you got to buy essentially 2 different versions of the game. I personally play the game on PC. I don't have a console, and I'm not going to buy a console specifically to play the next gen version of the game, which really only means that I can't get most of the community creations, and I have a new island feature that's probably riddled with microtransactions anyway. So there's not really a reason to get the next gen version. And to round up my negatives about WWE 2K25, my last one here is adding old features and pretending that they're new. Most of the features that have been advertised for WWE 2K25, like chain wrestling, promos, ladder finishers, I mean, the list goes on. These have existed in WWE games previously, and while yes, it is cool that we're getting them back, and I will talk about them later in the positive section, but two things can be true. While I do see positives in them, and I will talk about those, I don't appreciate adding features back and acting like they're new. This is classic game developer strategy, and it's okay to add new features back. I'm not saying it's wrong. Like I said, they'll show up in my positive section later. But returning features aren't new features. They're just not new. We've seen them before. You can add new things to them, but the feature itself is not new. All right, and now I want to move into my neutral section. These will be things I'm kind of on the fence on and haven't made really heads or tails of. And up first, probably the biggest one is the Island. I have no idea what this is going to be. I've seen a lot of people saying it's going to be like NBA 2K's like city mode, but I don't play NBA 2K, so I have no fucking idea about that. I just have kind of a sinking feeling that this is going to be a microtransaction mess mode. This is going to be complete no content, no substance. I just have that feeling. I'm putting it on the fence because honestly, they really haven't showed much or even talked about it that much to this point. So I really can't make heads or tails of it, but I'm trending downward on this feature. Plus, like I mentioned earlier, I'll be playing the PC version of the game, so I won't get this feature anyway. So one of the main sticking points I have about the Island is just that it just doesn't make sense for wrestling. Like a city for 2K where you walk around with other people and you challenge people to basketball, that makes sense. That happens in real life. You don't go walk around your city and challenge someone to a wrestling match and there's a ring there you just wrestle in. This, I mean, I understand it's a video game, but it just doesn't make sense in a wrestling game to me. Up next is the new Showcase mode. And the reason I'm feeling kind of neutral on the Showcase mode is because, now don't get me wrong, we've seen some cool things shown, but I've also seen some screenshots of some things that were not so great. I've never been a personal big fan of the Showcase mode. I'm not really a Showcase mode enjoyer to begin with. Getting rid of slingshot tech is a positive, but like I said, I've seen some questionable stuff. And to round out my list of things I'm just feeling kind of neutral on, we've got the Universe mode. That's right, probably the reason why most of you watch my videos, but it seems like once again the Universe mode updates are kind of low. Things we did get include PLEs on multiple days, so you can have WrestleMania on 2 nights now, and promos are returning. In my gut, I feel like the promos are going to be this thing that's just going to get old and annoying after a while. Maybe the first 2 or 3 times you do it, it might be okay. I feel like this is the thing that's either going to happen like after every single match and you're going to want to skip it, or when it does happen, there's only like 2 or 3 outcomes, so there's no dynamic gameplay to it at all. So I'm really on the fence about the promos. It seems that 2K has just been at a loss really for how to advance Universe mode or improve it at all. Hopefully we do get a bunch of new cutscenes. I saw one where a dude gets like shocked holding the top rope. Hopefully that's a Universe mode cutscene, and that's cool. But still, I remain reserved about Universe because we haven't seen a lot from this universe this year, and they haven't really talked about it that much either. All that being said, I will be running a Universe mode on the channel when it drops, and you'll see firsthand if it's good or not, because I'll be playing it. And now we move to the final part of the video, my positives about WWE 2K25. First up, adding more dynamic gameplay. So this includes ladder finishers, the new barricade moves, and chain wrestling. More special ref matches is great. They've essentially just unlocked that so you can have special ref in all different types of matches. Also in the moveset editor, which has really been the only update we've really received on the creation suite, is that you can change the frequency of moves, which I know a lot of you will appreciate for my Universe mode videos, because I see the comments every time a non-high flyer in my Universe mode hits a springboard, somebody leaves a comment like he doesn't have a springboard in his moveset. It's like, bro, what do you want me to do? 2K24 makes you have springboards in your moveset. I can't fucking change the game, but that'll be good. Hopefully that leads to a lot more accurate gameplay. And like I said earlier, I do have mixed feelings about this. I have more positives about this than negatives, which is why I left it in the positive section. But the biggest thing for me about adding more things to gameplay is that they have to feel dynamic, and they have to feel like something you want to do and not just something you do once and say, oh, that was okay, and you never do it again. Adding things to the actual gameplay keeps people playing longer. Adding more menus and microtransactions does not keep people playing longer. It makes them pay more money, but they just stop playing the game at the same amount. So this positive hinges on if, and I mean if, these implementations to gameplay are done well. Up next on the list of positives, number 2, the models just look better. I've been seeing some screenshots on Twitter of the models compared to 2K24 models, and they just look better. I'm not a huge model guy. I honestly don't care. You know, these guys are in motion on the screen. You can't really see when they're doing a bunch of moves anyway. So I don't need exact accuracy, but I will admit when you put the screenshots side by side, it do look like they've updated a lot of models. A few they didn't, you know, and they haven't for a while, but the majority of the ones that they've showed, at least, they do look better. The new camera options are also something to look forward to, and it's something I will probably be featuring heavy in my content. The new third-person mode specifically, I want to do a superstar mode completely in third person, so it's like we are the superstar going through the mode. I think that would be sick. But also being able to change the camera just free cam style, and even during the entrance, kind of like AEW's Fight Forever. That's awesome. Again, I hope this is a feature that they keep and they don't remove it and then add it back in 3 years, especially from a content creation side. There's so much that this just opens up so many new possibilities. And my final positive about WWE 2K25 is the size of the new roster. They've advertised about 300 wrestlers that are going to be in the game, and I hope this means that they're actually in the game. That meaning the base game that you pay for, and not My Faction BS or other things. But more characters in the game is something I will always list as a positive. You pay the price of the game, you get a shitload of characters. That's awesome. That's something that keeps people sticking around. They want to try out all the new characters and all the dream matches and mix-ups they can do. That's awesome. Hopefully that's something we see 2K continue with into the future. And that's going to do it for my little 2K25 update here, listing my positives and negatives. Let me know what you guys are hyped for about the game or things you're not too excited for in the comments. Leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.